everyone, today we're going to talk about modal verbs for obligation. These are the words we use to express rules, responsibilities, or advice. You hear them all the time, teachers, parents, and even laws using them. So what are modal verbs for obligations? Modal verbs for obligation tell us whether something is necessary or just recommended. The four main ones are must and have to, which is strong obligations, which is something you must do, and should and ought to, which is the weaker obligations, which is the something you should do but it's not mandatory. For example, a strong obligation, you must wear a seatbelt. It is a law. But for weaker obligation, you should eat vegetables. It is a good advice, but it's not a rule. So the differences is, think about these two sentences, which is you must do your homework. It means that you have no choice, but you should do your homework. It is a suggestion, but you won't get in trouble if you don't. So that's a quick overview of modal verbs for obligation. Next, we'll dive deeper into the difference between must and have to.
Okay everyone, now that we understand what modal verbs for obligation are, let's focus on two of them, which is must and have to. These two can sometimes mean the same thing, but there is a small difference in how we use them. The first one, must, is a personal obligation. We use must when the obligations come from ourselves or when we feel something is very important. For example, I must exercise more to stay healthy. So this sentence states my personal decision. For the second one, have to, it is an external obligation. On the other hand, have to is used when the obligation comes from an outside rule or authority, like a school, workplace, or law. For example, employees have to follow company policies. So this is a rule made by the company, not a personal decision. And one important thing to remember is that must does not have a past tense. So if you want to talk about past obligation, we use had to instead of must. For example, yesterday I had to submit my report before the deadline instead of yesterday I must submit my report. Alright, now that we understand the difference, let's move on to the next one.
Now, let's talk about should versus must and its practical applications. Have you ever felt confused on where or when to use should or must in a sentence? The word should or must both express necessity and obligations, but they differ in strength and authority. The word should is used for actions, responsibilities, or duties that what one thinks is best for concerned subjects. It suggests a weaker obligation or a recommendation, and it implies something is advisable but not absolutely necessary. We often use should for advice, suggestion, and moral guidance. For example, you should exercise daily, and you should apologize if you hurt someone's feelings. Next, the word must. Must is used for actions, responsibilities, or duties that one considered compulsory or necessary. It suggests a strong obligation or a requirement, and it implies that it is mandatory. We often use must for laws, rules, and formal instructions. For example, you must wear a seatbelt while driving, and you must submit the assignments by the end of this week. Thus, that's all conclude the differences between should and must and how you can use in a sentence.